happening. This is happening right now. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. We just mashed record. I'm engraving this moment in my mind. This is wild. It's separation season, baby. Hi, you guys. What's up, YouTube fam? Like, the fact that I'm sitting in this chair in front of this camera for the first time in a very long time. A lot has happened since I last vlogged. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about that today, but today's episode is all about becoming the best version of you. It makes me so excited because this is something that is so in my spirit and so on fire in my heart, not just for myself and my family, but for you, because I realize this community that we are growing and building and leaning into is so important to me that I don't want to fail you. I've got my notebook here. I've got my cards to rely on because I don't want to leave anything out. Hopefully you can give me just a few minutes of your time to give you some background information and then walk you through some steps that I've been going through over the past week to prepare for this new year. So happy New Year's, and let's get into this. All right, so let's go. Why not? I mean, yes, here we are, living our best version of me lives. What I thought I would do to make this make sense to everybody is to kind of use your questions that you've had. So if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, then you've seen over the past couple of days how I've really been learning more about certain things for intentionality and setting goals and achieving those goals and not wasting your time and your energy and your money doing things that are unnecessary and not going to get you closer to your goals. Because I don't know about you, but I've had years in the past, and this year being a minor one, where I wasn't, at the end of the year, I wasn't really like impressed with myself. I really have taken hold of this idea that 2023 is going to be the best year ever for my business, for my family, for my health, for my future career change. You know what? Nope, I've done it. I did it. I said it. We're leaning into it. Now's the time, right? Like, why are we not talking about this now? Like, let's just go ahead and talk about it. Okay, so I'm leaning into this space of change and of movement and transition, which I've been in. So the reason I haven't vlogged for quite some time is because, to be very honest with you, it was a lot of things that boiled down to burnout. What led to the burnout were things like a lack of vision for certain things, or getting overly excited and not having a plan for those things, and then just executing off of excitement and not a legit plan. But then also a lack of mentorship, a lack of and not support at all, because this Gosh Girl community has been a huge support, and the feedback that we've gotten has been phenomenal. And I think I kept leaning into those things, and it's just not sustainable, because people are people. Things change, seasons come, and hardship of life comes, and literally everything all together took a toll on me personally, and I just need to take a step back. But we're back vlogging, and we're super excited about that. Moving forward into this new year, the reason a lot of this has come about as far as separation season, if you're following me on socials otherwise, is because back in July, I joined and became a Nu Skin affiliate. ultimately, as I've been growing this skincare business, I've been surrounded by a community of girls that are straight hustlers, but at the same time, they are such genuine people and so smart, so motivated. And because this network of people that I've been surrounding myself with are not local people, because they come from other backgrounds, because they surround themselves with other people who are of other backgrounds and experiences and success, I've learned so much about things like separation season. And I've fallen in love with what it means and what it can do for me, what it has been and is doing for me currently. I could not share that. So a lot of you are asking, what is separation season? So I'm just going to touch on it really quickly, but I cannot take credit for it because the original creator of separation season is a man named Mylett. And so I've tagged his original podcast and YouTube video in the captions or the description box. So go check that out. I highly encourage you to go check that out because he's got so much good wisdom, like such good things to say. And let me say this too. So I think what hindered me this year so much with Gosh Girl was that I was putting so much pressure on, that didn't come directly from the Bible, so you can't talk about that or you can't post it. Whatever. Like I had this mindset and this idea that everything had to originate from a certain place, and if it didn't, then people weren't going to like it, people weren't going to follow it, people weren't going to believe in it, and that's just so not true. I believe that the Lord puts specific people and specific experiences in our life to teach us. Of course, we want to lean into His Word as much as we can, and we want to learn from that because all wisdom comes from there and all truth comes from there. One of the things, though, that Mylett says is that he wants to, or the reason he does separation season is to, one, separate himself from his competition in his business, from other people and other relationships, right? To just be a better version of himself. But secondly, to separate himself, from that previous version of himself. We look in the mirror or we think about ourselves all the time, and there are things that we're like cringing over, right? Things that, not necessarily just the way we look, but like my self-talk sometimes is in the toilet. Like that's not healthy. And so what he's saying is that in order to separate himself from himself, he's got to do things differently. So this separation season is not just thinking about things and making a plan for things, but it's ultimately carrying out those things by doing something different. You have to take action, and these actions that we're taking, they're not New Year's resolutions. So separation season actually comes in a time when other people are not moving forward, where like the holiday season comes and everybody's like, oh, we're just gonna eat however, like I'm gonna stray away from my diet because it's the holidays, like using Thanksgiving, Christmas, the New Year's, Easter, birthdays, using that as an excuse to eat however we want to, and then ultimately what's it doing? It's taking us away from our goals. What he says is that he wants to honor, because some years, some months, some weeks, some days, we have really difficult things going on in our lives. If you've been here for any period of time, whether that be on my social media or on this YouTube channel, you know that my husband and I are going through a fertility journey that is something we've been very open about, but it's also been something that at times we're very hush about because it's such a difficult thing. And in order for me, as Mylett says, in order for me to honor those difficult times, I've got to always be looking for ways to be better because of those difficult times. And so I can't continue. I'm no longer going to continue to use those difficult times as an excuse or my reason for feeling a certain way, doing a certain thing, saying a certain thing, thinking certain things, or committing even. Like I'm such a yes person. Like I give my yes to so many people and so many things that it's a distraction. But if I want to be happy on a day-to-day, that's a moral obligation that I have to make to myself. And one way I can do that is by setting up specific things in a separation season that's going to help me to be the better version of myself. So one thing that Ed Mylett talks about is that if we think about our goals in feet, and so I consider each year a foot. In that year, what makes up the foot? And that would be inches. And in that year, in order for me to get from here to here successfully, without burnout, without stress, without anxiety, then I need to be making movement in inches increments. I'm not gonna go from who I am now to who I want to be overnight. Change that's sustainable does not happen overnight. We can take small moments. We can look at our Friday evenings differently. We can look at our Saturdays differently. So I want to tell you what my separation season has been looking like and will continue to look like as we move into the new year. So these small moments are things that you wouldn't normally do. It's kind of like random acts of kindness. So like the other day, I was at the nail salon, and typically in the past, the old version of me would have said, oh, this is my me time. I'm gonna sit here in this chair and I'm just gonna relax. I'm just gonna recharge. I'm just gonna take some deep breaths. I'm gonna not think about anything, right? But I would have made the excuse to sit in that chair and do nothing. So the other day, as a Best Version of Me 23 challenge and the separation season small moment, instead of sitting in that chair and doing nothing, I sat in that chair and I did a little bit of work on my phone. I planned out some things. And what I was doing was moving me forward to what I want to be at the end of the year. So these small moments are not just, oh, I'm going to do something different than what I've normally done. Be intentional about that moment. Choose something that's going to push you forward towards your goals. Fridays from 1 to 5. And in our teacher world, we call this Free Fridays, right? We use the morning of Fridays to take tests, to grade papers, to get unfinished work done. And then once all that's done, typically about 1 o'clock, from 1 to the end of the school day, we let our kids do a Free Friday. And I hate it for my babies when we go back to school next week, but we're not having Free Fridays the rest of the year. I realize how much of a waste of time that is, how much a waste of their time that is. And it's not pushing them towards their goals. So what's cool about this separation season is that not only am I making myself better, but now I'm going to be able to make the children in my classroom better because I'm teaching them a habit that will be sustainable for what they want to achieve as a 4th grader. And I know that seems crazy because they're just kids, right? They're just 4th graders. But why not go ahead and instill that in them now? I'm going to make good use of that time and push myself towards my goals that I have in the classroom. Evenings. So Monday to Thursday, the evenings are full of stuff that we've said yes to. One way that I'm taking back my evenings is evaluating, doing a self-assessment, and this will come in just a second when I talk about the calendar audit, but doing a self-assessment that gives me back my evenings for the things that are important to me. In other words, whatever I've said yes to that's not getting me closer to my goal, to who I want to be at the end of this year, then I'm going to have to say no to it now. And then strangers. This is a fun one. I did this yesterday in Walmart. Anytime a stranger in Walmart that I passed by made eye contact with me, I smiled. A lot of them did not smile back, probably because it was so awkward and they're not used to it. But I was on a mission to spread some joy. And for the ones that did smile back, guess what? It filled me up. Another example of this might be to, instead of texting everyone for the next week, what if every time you talked to somebody on the phone, you called them instead? So then when I was thinking about separation season, that led me into being very intentional, being very specific. And so I started branching out with my podcast, and I stumbled upon a girl named Rachel Hollis. This is also linked in the description box. No intention is actually an intention, and it's actually a bad intention. So if you have no intention about something, then you're kind of walking blind, and it's going to lead you into a negative direction. And whatever our intentions are, we become those. Intentionality is so important, especially at the beginning of the year. So that led me into a second part of her podcast that was talking about her intentionality equation, which is so mind-blowing and so good and so practical. So in this book, I have put out the equation for myself. I didn't want to get to the end of this year and think, what did I do? Like, I didn't want to look back over my calendar at the end of the year and be like, oh, well, all this was for nothing. Because there have been years where that was so true for me. Like, recent years. And it's like, I was so busy and I was so stressed out all this year. Like, what did I do for me? What did I do for my family? What did I do for my marriage? There was so much on my calendar, but I felt like I had nothing to show for it. And so one of the things that she says is, if we don't know where we're going, right? If I don't know what I want to be at the end of the year, then I'm just like, I guess I'll just try anything. But if I know for sure this is what I want to be at the end of the year in my family, in my job, whatever, then it's giving me a way to work backwards and put a plan in action. And I'm very much a planner. I'm very much, a list person, a calendar person. And so what we start with is an intention word, what you see yourself being. This word should scare the doo-doo out of you. This word should, not to where it makes you like shy away from it, but to where it motivates you and it fires you up to keep you going in these low moments that are gonna come in 2023. And your word, your intention needs to really fit you. So, I'm really hesitant on sharing too much of my equation because I don't want anybody to feel pressured to do what somebody else is doing. This needs to be super, 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 super specific to who you are as a person, what you do in your family, what you do in your job, so that you get the results that you want. Just like any math equation, we have subtraction, multiplication, division, addition. And because of the teacher in me and knowing PEMDAS, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Knowing that part, I was like, no, but there's something missing to this equation. So I have added on the exponent and the parentheses just because I feel like it fits me. You can do this however you want to. As you would expect, subtraction is removing things. You are removing what isn't authentic to you. Maybe this is some idea. Maybe this is a thought process. Maybe this is the spirit of comparison, which y'all know Kristina has struggled with for so long. 10 plus 2 is 12. 10 times 2 is 20. I got more because of multiplication. I did not get more by adding. I did get more, but I got even more by multiplying. When we add stuff, we are actually causing ourselves to have more work. It's something that we have to manage more, something that we have to keep up with more. When we keep saying yes to things and adding all these things into our lives, we're actually doing ourselves a disservice. So, what we would rather do, what's more sustainable, beneficial to us, is to multiply. When we multiply, we're not adding new things. We're taking what is already working and we're doing more of that. So when I think back over the past year, the thing that worked really well for me was, and I wish I had it, why didn't I bring it? In my calendar, put sticky notes on there in a strategic way that covered up certain days and only showed the ones that were important for that moment. And on the sticky note, I got even more granular with what I needed to do that day. I'm gonna get even more specific with that. I might, instead of having all yellow sticky notes, I might now do a yellow, a green, a pink, right? I might get even more specific with my sticky note process because it worked. And whenever you multiply what's been working, you're going to be more successful. Division. This one, when I've been making out my list, this one's been the hardest one. Delegation is so also necessary because I can't do everything by myself. We weren't created to do that. We were created for relationship, and in relationship is teamwork. And so I have to become better this year at delegating. Divide up your load so that you're not overwhelmed, so that you're not stressed, so that you're not spending your energy and time on things that are not pushing you towards your goal. My sand timer is almost run out, so I'm going to try to push through this as quickly as I can. Now, one very, very important thing in regards to delegation or dividing up your load is that whoever you ask to do that, be prepared for whatever the outcome may be, which means you need to choose someone that can handle your load that you're delegating, that you're dividing up. Asking for help is going to be a humbling thing for me. Because I'm so OCD with certain things, because I like certain things a certain way, aesthetically and organized, I have had a hard time delegating. Removing and delegating are the two hardest parts for me so far. And I'd be interested to see, as you work through this process, let me know in the comments if delegating and removing has been hard for you. Adding is the part of the equation that is probably going to be the part where you're going to feel like you want to add stuff and add stuff and add stuff, because we've been told by society, like, do this, add this into your routine, add this into your life, add this into your schedule, whatever. And it's so not true. The more we add on, the more consumed we get by that energy, and it's not healthy. Adding needs to be on your list the smallest number of things. Whatever you add needs to be simple, and it needs to stretch you. And it's probably something that's not fun. So the two things of this equation that I have put in, because I feel like it'll help me to be a more well-rounded whole being, is the exponents. So just like multiplication, exponents get you an even further number, right? So exponents are going to be education that I already have, and continuing that. So whatever continuing education I need for whatever the goal is that I have set. I'm gonna start reading more books. That sounds so boring because I'm not a reader. I need to read more. I need to learn more. I need to grow in that capacity. Then the last thing are the parentheses, and this is where I kind of geek out a little bit, especially in regards to Gosh Girl. If you think about parentheses in an equation, all the stuff's in the middle, and parentheses is telling you to do that first. Growing up and learning math and learning equations, whenever I saw parentheses, it kind of reminded me of a hug. And when I think over the course of my life, the thing that has hugged me the most, the thing that has held me all together the most, are guiding principles from my faith. In terms of my faith, that would be worship, reading the Bible, Bible studies, prayer life, journaling to the Lord, having my prayer closet, going on a fast. It's all kinds of things that are guiding me, they're holding me together, they're giving me my purpose. And because now I'm envisioning this as a parentheses, my time with the Lord in this equational sense has to come first. This has to come first, and then all that on the inside, the addition, the removal, the multiplication, the delegation or division, all of that's going to come more naturally. You get you some guiding principles. I highly encourage you, if you don't hear anything else in this video, I highly encourage you to get some guiding principles. This is deeper than morals, okay? I'm talking about relationship. I'm talking about when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is say, God, thank you so much for waking me up today. I cannot wait to see what you're going to do in my life, what you're going to do in my family, the people that you're going to introduce me today to share your love, and let that guide you through all this other stuff that we've talked about. I heard this quote that said, give yourself the gift of time and everything else will go away. And the everything else means stress, anxiety. Those things will go away when you give yourself the gift of time. So God tells us that time is in his hands, right? He's the beginning, he's the end, and that his time is the best time. When I submit to that, and when I humble myself under that gift of time, all that other stuff takes care of itself. And one good way of doing that, giving myself the gift of time, is to do a calendar audit. This originally come from John Maxwell, which is a mentor of Rachel Hollis, and there are 3 steps. Step 1 is to review your calendar from the year before. So you literally go month by month, day by day, and review what you have on your calendar or your schedule. Look for things like any wasted time or patterns. And whenever you look for those wasted times or patterns, you're not going to judge yourself, because what I'm learning is I wasted a lot of time, a lot of money for many reasons, and you're not going to make any judgment. You're just going to look for those patterns, look for that waste, and celebrate your wins. I'm going to look to see, okay, what of this, I'm looking for that equation stuff, right? What of this can I take away? What of this can I multiply? What of this can I delegate? What of this can I just not get rid of? This is just something that I have to do, but I'm going to steward it better. Once you've done the review, step 2 is to release what was a waste or what was a pattern. Writing it down does something for our brains that typing it into a computer or just thinking about it could never do. But then part of that release is not just writing it down. Part of it is, if you're like me, you really want to say goodbye to that, and I need a physical, tangible way to say goodbye, so I'm going to burn mine. Step 3 of this calendar audit is to refocus. So it's great to review, it's great to release it, but if I don't refocus my energy, if I don't refocus my time, if I don't refocus my goal and set a plan, this whole intention thing, then it's going to do me no good. 2 things to think about. For anybody to see change, you have to give it time, the gift of time, and you have to be consistent. In that time and in that consistency, your attitude and your effort is going to make all the difference. So this is all about your self-talk. This is all about the way you perceive things. Time and consistency mixed with a good attitude and just a little bit of effort, I believe is going to help you to be more sustainable throughout this year and to become the best version of yourself. So that leads me to the Best Version of Me 23 challenge, baby. Here's how this will work. Every single month, we will launch a challenge for you. It might be something pertaining to physical health, mental health, spiritual, emotional, relationships, whatever, finances, whatever. Whenever you show up, whenever you do this challenge and you let us know about it, it enters you into a drawing for the end of the month. January's challenge.
January's challenge
Is a physical challenge. I mean, because why not? Like, we all want to be better physically. I'm so excited. You will do something. You're going to commit to something for the entire month of January. Maybe that means you want to get better at drinking water because you don't drink enough water. Maybe you have this problem with Coke like I have, or a problem with coffee or whatever, and you know those things are not serving you to your intentional word. They're not getting you through that equational, is equational a word? Is equational a word? I'm not sure. It's not getting you to where you want to be. Whenever you do that thing, every single time you do that thing, post it, tag us, it'll enter you into a drawing. Let's just give you mine, for example. I'm gonna be focusing on gut health. So every single day, I am going to, 1, drink my new biome, but every single day, this is really huge, I'm going to eat yogurt. And the reason I say that's remember. In order to get to this foot of a year, I've got to take my inches, right? So these challenges that you put for yourself each month need to be those inches that you're doing. So what physical inch can you do every single day to get you towards the end of the month closer to your intentional word? If it's physically, I want to walk 10 minutes of the day. Take a picture of yourself walking, post it, tag us, you're entered into the drawing. So obviously, this is an incentive group because the more you do your challenge and the more you share that with us, the more likely you are to win the prize at the end of the month because you're in there so many times. January challenge is all physical. I'm focusing on gut health. And the reason being is because with this fertility journey, gut health has so much to do with fertility. So the goal here is that as I become the better version of me and I'm doing these challenges each month, then what I have done for those 30 days, 31 days, 28 days, whatever of the month, then by the time February comes, it's a habit of mine. And I have put something into my life that's going to get me to the better version of me by the end of the year. We're going to just add one new challenge a month, and we want to celebrate that with you. We want to reward you. We want to recognize your hard work. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 say, trust in the Lord with all of your heart. All of your heart. And to me, that means everything you've got. So trust in the Lord with everything you have. Then it says, and lean not to your own understanding, and in all of your ways submit to Him, and He will direct your path. So I'm not going to lean just to my understanding. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach out to the people around me who maybe have more information, have more wisdom. I'm going to go read it in the Bible. I'm going to go watch the YouTubes. I'm going to go read the books. I'm going to go listen to the podcast. I'm going to not lean on my own understanding because y'all, I don't have this figured out. And I'm just being very honest and transparent with you really quick. The old Kristina in these Gosh Girl vlogs thought she had it all figured out, and I don't. I'm here telling you now that I am sorry that I presented myself in such a way that told you I knew certain things. I don't. My relationship with the Lord needs to be better. My relationship with my family needs to be better. My relationship with myself needs to be better. If I want to do this the Proverbs way, I've got to not lean onto my own understanding because that will fail me every single time. And in all of my ways, as the word says, I'm going to submit to Him, to His time, to His plan, so that He can make this path, this equation, right? These challenges, He can make my path from 2023 to 2024. He can make that path exactly how it's supposed to be. Full of love, full of joy, full of peace, full of understanding, full of wisdom, full of opportunity and connection and financial freedom and whatever it is that I have asked the Lord for. So, I'm so excited for this. I'm telling you, I could not be more excited for this. We're vlogging, we're podcasting, we're challenging ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. And the coolest thing about it all is that we're doing it together, and we're doing it at the start of a year so that this time next year we can look back and we can go, oh my gosh, like when I look at my future self, 365-day self from now, I get so excited. Like I cannot wait to meet her and all of the things that are going to lead me up to that person, up to that place, up to that whatever season of my life. I'm excited for those too because they're lessons and they're motivators and they're a part of the journey that is what sets me apart from anybody else. I'm so excited for this new year. Well, I feel free. I feel the most free that I have felt in a very long time. And I want to remain in that space. So, questions, concerns, excitement, all the things, drop it in the comments. Go follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and make sure that you are following us every single month for the challenge. I cannot wait to hear from you. Gosh, girl, you so pretty. Gosh, girl, you so brave. Gosh, girl, you so got this. I'm so excited. Love ya. Okay, bye.